We'll keep TC for just another couple moments because he had a late night last night, as we all did, and we're regrouping on Sunday live here on the College Basketball Coast to Coast platforms. If you're only hearing us after the fact via podcast or the TuneIn streaming coverage, etc., come see us on the moving pictures on YouTube, on Facebook, Twitter, etc. Look, this was not the whole game, but there definitely is a controversial moment at the end of the game. The Duke fans are still screaming about this. Now, with the preface that for about 4 decades, Duke has seemingly gotten most of, if not all of the big calls in any big game. But the foul call on Cooper Flagg on the free throw miss by Proctor, I mean, 2 big breaks for Houston. Proctor misses the front end of the 1-and-1. And then the phantom foul, I'm just going to say it, horrific call on Cooper Flagg, who's not even coming over the back of Jawan Roberts, who's backing into him, who's got his arm around him. If nothing else, that should be play on. Huge moment because it allows now Houston to go to the other end and shoot 2 free throws and take the lead, not have to make a shot from the floor, but they get to go to the foul line because of that play.
They didn't call anything in the second half.
They called virtually nothing, Doctor, in the second half. It was practically the Houston Texans playing the Carolina Panthers in football for a lot of that second half, but they called that one. And so it wasn't everything, but that's a massive moment with 8 seconds left in the game, or thereabouts, about 15 seconds left in the game when that play happened. So it's a part of the narrative here at the end on Duke losing out and Houston winning the game. But Robert still had to make the free throws, yes. But TC, weigh in on that real quick as well, the controversy.
Yeah, well, 2 things. Let's go back to the way the game was called in the first half, which seemed to be rather ticky-tack. And, I'd said this all week, you have to, when you're dealing with Houston, all right, you have to be aware that they're going to be very physical. They're going to play you tight, and depend on the referee crew, how are they going to call this? If they're going to call it ticky-tack, then they're probably going to be, in trouble. And we saw that first half called that way. I was glad to see in the second half that they did let them open up a little bit, and they weren't marching to the foul line like we've seen in other previous games, like we saw in the first half. But back to your point about the Cooper Flagg foul. From my angle, really, it was kind of, I'm looking down my right when it's happening, so it was kind of hard to see if it was a foul or not. But I will tell you this, my friends, remember, Houston secured the rebound. So just because that foul happened did not necessarily mean that they had the advantage. Because I will say, full disclosure, I was saying, oh no, I would much rather see Cryer bring the ball up court and Houston get into a set instead of sending Jawan Roberts to the free throw line 53%. Seriously,
right.
53%. So I had no faith that Roberts was going to hit 1 or 2 of those free throws. Earlier, remember, he went to the free throw line and he made one, missed one, right? So for him to can both, total shock. But I was actually preferring that they would bring the ball up court, get into a set, and go that way. And then, worst case, maybe we have overtime. But, kudos to Roberts for doing that. So I didn't put too much into that call.
Tyler wants to get in here, TC.
TC, another point I would bring up as far as when the game turned, when things changed. You go back to the inbound when Houston hit it out when he had not even inbounded the ball yet. And that led to technical foul shots in the Duke basketball. And I saw Kelvin's reaction, and he remained very calm. And
we should say this initially because TV showed it. He was not calm. He went berserk on his own, put his hands on his head, bent down. Yeah. Then he realized, okay, the game is not completely over. I got to regroup. Right.
And then that team kept their composure. They didn't let it get in the way. That felt like, TC, that could have been the end for Houston when that happened. But the fact that they still stayed the course and stayed steady, I was impressed because they could have folded right then and there.
No question about it. Again, that is just basketball 101. You just don't do that. Okay, you cannot slap the ball, out of the hands of an inbounder.
That's the inbounder while it's out of bounds.
That's a technical foul and possession. But see, the key here was that the officials had a little confusion too, whether it was going to be 2 shots in the basketball for Duke or only 1. But because it is an inbound dead ball, it was only 1 shot, which I thought was huge. Was huge here because now you just got the 1 free throw. Oh, and by the way, that was the only point that they had scored in the last 3.5 minutes, and didn't get a field goal.
And I believe There will
Yeah.
probably be a movement made because when big things happen on the big stage, there are changes that will probably become a 2-shot technical foul situation down the
Yeah.
road. Just because you can't, I mean, this is like the Belichick thing in the NFL. You can't have somebody discover something that they get away with. Okay, it's only 1 point if we reach in and do it, because then people will start doing it and start taking the chance. I don't know. That didn't cost Duke the game. What cost him the game is what happened after that. When
Right.
Kneppel made the free throw, it put him up by 7.
Yeah.
You can't hold a 7-point lead in the final 3-4 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
That's on you.